And joining us now from Mountain View, California, with more on biometrics is Shuman Ghosemajumder, the Vice President of Shape Security. Shuman, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Let's get straight into it, Shuman. Thank you. Less than 2 days after the iPhone 5S went on sale, a German hacker group claimed to have hacked the fingerprint security system. Can you really lift a fingerprint from any surface and then authenticate it to use on a scanner? How difficult is it to crack this code?
Well, it was just a matter of time before someone was going to demonstrate a method to be able to fool the fingerprint scanner into authenticating the device. But as was detailed in the previous segment, there's a lot that an attacker needs to do in order to be able to pull that off successfully. So I don't think that it's something which the average criminal is going to be able to pull off if they steal an iPhone from someone.
Okay, well, wouldn't one just be able to combine the biometric with a password and that would add a second layer of security? Or is that really defeating the purpose of making life easier by not having to remember all of these dozens of passwords for so many things?
It would defeat the convenience factor that Apple is encouraging by allowing you to authenticate using your fingerprint. But it's important to note that even Apple is retaining the passcode for certain types of authentication. So, for example, if you haven't logged into your phone for 48 hours, or if you reset your phone, then you have to use your passcode again. You can't use TouchID before you've done that. And of course, if you fail to authenticate successfully using TouchID 5 times in a row, then you have to enter your passcode again. But if they were to say that, sorry, go ahead.
And Shuman, to that point, there have been a lot of concerns about privacy with regards to this. Senator Al Franken wrote an open letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook. And overall, there is an issue that, yes, Apple might store fingerprints with third parties or the government, much like other companies like Facebook and Google store data and then share it with outside vendors. How much of a concern is this? Is corporate America getting too much of our personal information, and is this trend only increasing that?
So it was very important to understand how exactly Apple is storing the fingerprint information, and Apple has revealed that they're not actually storing fingerprint images at all. What they are storing is what they call a mathematical representation of the features of the fingerprint, and even that data, which can't be used to reconstruct an entire fingerprint, is stored in a secure area of the A7 CPU, and that is completely walled off from the operating system as well as from other parts of the CPU. So that
Shuman,
isn't really something.
So, like you say, security concerns maybe not that serious right now. Let's talk about the biometric industry as a whole. It is projected to hit revenues of over $11 billion by 2017. That's according to research from Market Intelligence. So where else could we see biometric devices being used? Could they soon be used to replace bank codes, PIN numbers? Could they be used instead of keys to gain access to homes? And other than fingerprints, could we be moving towards the retinal scan as a more mainstream system?
It's a good question. There are many different applications for biometrics in our daily lives, and they can be used both for convenience as well as for additional security. So like you were mentioning before, if Apple were to provide a new feature where it required both the Touch ID and the passcode to be able to unlock the phone, that actually would offer additional security over what was previously made available in iOS, because now you effectively have two-factor authentication implemented by adding the biometric layer. But if you want to add just sheer convenience, there are all kinds of different applications outside of smartphones in our daily lives. So for example, now you can go and open many cars by having a wireless indicator inside of your pocket and then just touching it using a capacitive sensor. And those types of applications, if they were moved to fingerprints, or if they were moved to retinal scans or other types of biometric authentication, then that could really improve convenience for being able to access everyday types of items. Now, retinal scans specifically are much more difficult to be able to both implement as well as to use on a regular basis than something like a fingerprint scanner.
All right, from retinal scans to facial recognition to voice recognition, the world of biometrics is certainly expanding. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much, Shuman Ghosemajumder, Vice President of Shape Security. Thanks again for joining us.